What is going on, you guys? My name is Andrew, and today we will be reviewing the Brooks Glycerin Max 2 running shoe. I've put just shy of 125 miles on the shoe since I purchased it while training for a marathon, and I just want to give you guys some of the things I like, things I don't like, just my overall opinion, and some facts on the shoe before you make this shoe your next purchase. So without any further ado, let's get into it, shall we? All right, so the first thing we are going to go over is just some of the numbers and stats directly off of the Brooks website, and I will tell you how I feel those numbers actually stack up in comparison to wearing the shoe. So the first thing we'll highlight is the stack. It is a 6 millimeter drop off, which you can see pretty clearly. This shoe is relatively flat for the most of it, but it does have a very aggressive toe drop. Now, I played with that toe drop in store when I first tried them on, and just sat there going up all the way onto my tippy toes because it's still pretty flat right there, actually. It's quite comfortable. And the shoe does roll over quite nicely on that while you are running. Now, going into the weight is 11.3 ounces. I believe that is for the size 10 or 10 and a half men's US. I am in the size 13, and that is a little bit closer to 12 ounces even. So, might be a little bit of weight discrepancy, but it is not that bad, especially for a super cushiony trainer. The price, you are looking to pay $200 USD just about everywhere you go, whether that be on Brooks's actual website, it is $200, or Dick's Sporting Goods in store, it is also $200. So looks like you're not going to see too much price fluctuation across the board. That's basically it for all the numbers that were available on Brooks's website. Now let's get into what I would use this for. All right, so next we're going to talk about what I would recommend this shoe for, as well as what Brooks recommends this shoe for. So if you look on the Brooks website, you will quickly see that they suggest this shoe for everything. You want to go for a walk? Awesome. You want to go for a run? Fantastic. You want to fly to the moon? Why not? Who's going to stop you? I agree with them to a certain extent. For long runs, this shoe is fantastic. I compare this every day to the Asics Super Blast 2, which is one of my favorite shoes of all time, and I'm sure a lot of you love this shoe as well. For tempo workouts, it's not bad. You're not going to get your fastest miles out of this shoe. It is still a little on the clunkier side, but it is a comfortable clunky. It's a heavy shoe. It's a heavy cushion shoe, so you always lose a little bit of speed, but it's not going to be enough to really stifle you. For speed workouts, I don't think this is a great shoe. I think there's better shoes that'll last a little bit longer through those harder miles, but you could use it if you want to save some miles on another pair. Now, where I really draw the line is the everyday trainer part. This is a $200 shoe. There is probably a million better options for under $200. That would be better for an everyday trainer shoe. I would say the rest of Brooks's lineup is better as an everyday trainer / walking shoe versus spending $200 on this. So that's the only line I really draw heavily at. This is not really what it's good for. Could you use it? Yes. It's your money. Spend it how you'd like. It is a comfortable shoe to walk in, but there are better options for in the $150 to $130 even price range that would work just as well for walking and everyday trainer. Now, could you use this 2 days in a row? Absolutely. The foam responds very well, and it kind of comes back out pretty good. I did have one day that I couldn't, but I also ran while they were wet, and it was a 16-mile day. So that may be the only issue. So if you're doing back-to-back, I would say under 8 miles, you'll be just fine. If you're doing back-to-back long runs, I would give them a day in between and use another pair of easy shoes. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about the pros and cons that I have for this shoe. And we're going to start with the elephant in the room, and that is the heel. I guess just the padding collapses every now and again. Like the heel itself isn't broken, like structurally, like I'm pushing on it and nothing's happening. It's just there's so much padding around the ankle that if you slide it on while it's untied, not tied, it will just collapse. You can pull it back out. It's not really a huge deal. And it also doesn't seem to rub on the back of my ankle. I haven't had any blistering or any problems with that. So far so good there, but it is annoying and it just seems like a flawed structural thing. Now, the next con I have is, you can see here, I'm starting to get a toe hole. At 125 miles, I kind of hope I'm not getting a toe hole. My toes are pretty well trimmed. I try not to let my toenails get too crazy because obviously that can aid in getting those kinds of holes. But Nike, I've always had an issue with toe hole breakthroughs. I haven't ran Brooks in a very long time, so this is hopefully nothing too crazy, but I would like to get this shoe to at least 250 miles so that way I can get well over $1 a mile out of it. But those are the two big flaws I'd see in this shoe. Other than that, it is a fantastic shoe. Like I said, this is very comparable to the Asics Superblast 2, but the toe hole breakthroughs and the ankle collapse or the heel collapsing, never had those problems with the Asics Superblast 2. So I would definitely rate that a notch above, but this is still a fantastic shoe for long runs, and that is what I've been using it for, and I've had no issues with it. The foam recovers quite nicely. It's a great shoe all around. But those two cons, structurally, I'm hoping aren't a bad sign for longevity of this shoe, because I'd like to get somewhere in the ballpark of 250 to 300 miles out of this shoe before having to really work on getting a replacement. Now, finally, we are getting into the final review of the shoe. So the first thing I want to highlight is the comfort. I give that a whopping 4 out of 5 stars. This shoe is insanely comfortable. The padding on it is incredible. Do I believe it's a little too much on the ankle if that's what's causing that collapse? Grain of salt. But for me, this is a comfortable long run shoe. Feels very good. I could wear this every day and I could run countless miles in this and not feel uncomfortable. Now, as for the durability, as I just stated, between the heel collapse and the toe hole starting to form, it is making me nervous about long-term durability for this shoe, especially being we are only 125 miles in. I'd like to get over 200 out of the shoe just so I can at least get $1 a mile. So, with that being said, I give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's just not looking good long-term right now. I hope it doesn't get any worse, but we'll see. As for the price, $200 for a super trainer, I think that's pretty good. I'd give that about a 4 out of 5. Now, $200 for a daily trainer / walking shoe, that's a 1 out of 5. Do not use this for a daily trainer or walking shoe. There are a lot better options. Do a little bit more shopping. So my overall final rating on the shoe is a 4 out of 5. I do believe that the Asics Superblast is still a slightly more superior shoe. I never had any of these durability issues with the toe hole breakthrough or the heel collapse whenever I wore those shoes, and that is multiple pairs, multiple drops. So I think those shoes are just a notch above this. But if you are somebody who does love the Superblast and you want to try something new, I do recommend the shoe. I think it is still a good option. But other than that, I would say those shoes are like a 1-for-1. It's hard to say. But yeah, 4 out of 5 seems to be a fair judge point for this shoe. And that is my review of the Brooks Glycerin Max 2 running shoe. Hope you guys found some value in this video, and if you did, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. I'd love to have you guys around for more gear reviews in the future, maybe some watch reviews, maybe some more running shoe reviews, as well as some training vlogs. I'm currently in the middle of a 3:35 marathon training plan for the Jim Thorpe Marathon. I'd love to have you guys around for the journey. Till then, see you later, bros. Thanks for watching.